Hi, I'm Dennis Smith, and I'm here today to talk about the iFocus Today best practice of using mind maps to convey information. It's a challenge for teams to rapidly communicate the content of a project, the structure of a project, who's doing what the status is, and mind maps are a great way to take care of that. Because of the mind map, people can look at either an 8.5 by 11 or potentially one the size of a wall and rapidly walk through the visual hierarchy that's expressed by that map and see the project goals, content, structure, or in the case of personal goals, you can rapidly review the goals that you've set and make sure that you're spending your time in the right places. There are many tools available all over the web to build mind maps. I used Mind Manager by MindJet mainly because I've used it for years and I'm familiar with the interface and can work very quickly there. If your budget won't support Mind Manager, there's a great product you can take a look at called FreeMind. It'll open many versions of Mind Manager files. It's available for free, it's open source, and you can download it for almost any platform and use it on the web. Moreover, a great way to work on this if you're with teams is to use sticky notes all over the wall for the text that you would put into the mind map. And I use blue painter's tape to connect those and to build the hierarchy out on the wall with sticky notes and tape. If you're working on the project personally, another easy thing to do is to get a sheet of flip chart paper, something 2 by 3 feet or so, and work it out there with a pencil or a pen, or however you'd like to do it. That's a great way to get a first draft started. So how do you get started? The easy way to get started is to, on one sticky note or in the center of your paper, write down the central topic. If that's the project name, the mission, if you're building your personal goals, it might be the year or the 3 months that you're writing the goals for. Then you add to it. You add to it by making additional boxes and things, as I'll show you in a few minutes, and drawing connections between them. And build the map from there. The first goal is to just rapidly collect everything, and this is why I like to use software, because it's so easy to do that. In a team process, you'll build the whole thing up on the wall, and then I generally transfer it into software. But you want to get everything captured, not worry so much about the organization. If you're doing this on your own, spend 10 minutes, write down everything you can, put it away for a while, come back later that day, come back the next day, take another 10 minutes and keep building it up until you're comfortable with it, that it reasonably represents the goal or the project that you're trying to map out. Starting up a new mind map is pretty straightforward. Generally, there's a central topic in the default template. You'll start by renaming that to whatever is appropriate. And then I usually like to build the first level of subordinate tasks right away. In most packages, there is a simple keyboard shortcut to build subordinate tasks and to duplicate tasks at the same level. With my software, just hitting the Enter key once to close the topic and then hitting it a second time will build a peer level task. To build a subordinate task, in my keyboard shortcut is Alt-Enter. Yours will vary depending on the software and platform you're using. Here I have a completed map. The map is in the template section for PlusLink members, and I'll show you just quickly what's involved with it, what I've chosen to put in there in this sample. Your map would certainly be different, as your priorities, goals, and what you want out of your life will vary from what this list says. So pretty straightforward to do. Just take a shot and get started. When building a map for a project, I like to first have the team brainstorm all of the work items at one particular level. As in the case of this workshop rollout, there are about 25 or 30 items. Then, after that is done, I like to go back and reorganize it to put the various pieces into logical groups. This can be done by the team together, or quite often I'll work that offline depending on how the day is structured, how the plan building workshop is structured. So let's speed up time a little bit and take a look at how this workshop rollout project gets grouped. Both a PDF and a Mind Manager version of this file are available for PlusLink subscribers. So here's how I construct a process to build a map with a team. I'm going to use the wall and tape method that I described earlier. Everybody gets a pad of sticky notes, and there's tape available for everyone, or tape available up at the wall. Again, the blue painter's tape, so the facilities people don't get upset about pulling paint off. What I generally do is have everyone write down 3 to 5 items within their area of expertise or area of responsibility, and then in parallel have them stick them on the wall. And while they're sticking them on the wall, have the team also try to group them, do some work with the tape. After that slows down, have the team go back to their seats and study the map, write down 5 more, and then do some more posting and some more taping. I usually try to facilitate improving the grouping by suggesting how it should be regrouped, or sometimes taking an active role in repackaging and regrouping the stuff myself. In this, each team works together to improve their own part of the map if you've got a larger team. If there's only one representative from different functions, each person can do that. If it's a small team or a creative team, I just let everyone have at it and write down notes and tape in any order they want. Generally, there isn't any friction between the people as they do this. I try to encourage this under brainstorming rules because what we're trying to do is to get everything captured. After it's finished and you want to copy it down, I'll generally transfer it into software, but I always take a picture with my phone, pictures close enough to it or in sections to make sure I've got it captured correctly off of the board as it was originally presented. And after that, I'll move it into an electronic format to print it out to proceed with the review and editing and refinement of the map. Particularly if you're working on a project, but also if you're working on your own goals. It's always helpful to get an outside review, to get other people to look at it. In a project, many companies have formal team review projects with peers, with management, whatever. A mind map is a great way to rapidly communicate the content that you're working on. But one of the more powerful methods that I use is really informal. I print out from the electronic version a big copy and hang it on the wall and tell people it's there. Occasionally taking a piece of string and a pencil or a pen and putting it there to encourage people to write notes. Occasionally get some graffiti, but also get some good ideas. Getting it printed that big may be something that you have to go outside to do. If you print as a PDF or make a PDF copy of it, you can send it to most Staples and almost any printing shop, and for a few dollars they'll print it out at 2 by 3 feet or 4 by 5 feet. The ones that I have done recently at 2 by 3 feet at Staples have been $7 or $8. This is really short money, and it allows you to get it all on one sheet. As the sheet gets too messy from comments, I'll occasionally go back and update it, and this is where it's really time-saving to have it in an electronic format. Your review process will help you understand what's missing, but here is also where I find checklists are very helpful. You can Google for checklists, talk through with groups that usually join in the project later in the project timeline, bring them in earlier and have them critique it, find an outside review form. But for our PlusLink customers, we also have here attached the checklist that I use with projects. It is a mind map. As I recall, it has over 200 things in it that I like to look for in the context of getting a project started. Many of these are related to the project plan itself, but many are also related to marketing and sales and the general business. It's a good list for you to cross-check your project with. Maps are a great way to represent a project. However, I caution people against using them to try to control a project if that project has much complexity. In general, if there are more than 100 tasks or more than 10 people, or if the critical path isn't very obvious as you look at the map, you really need to move a project plan into another tool. The higher end packages of Mind Manager will interchange files with Microsoft Project, allowing you to use Project for the detailed scheduling and determining complex critical paths, and use Mind Manager to give you the visual representation that's so important for communication. When I've tried this with previous versions of the software, what I've seen is that the translation back and forth isn't perfect. So I recommend keeping the original version in Microsoft Project, and using Mind Manager to display it as required. So to wrap it up for today, I want to talk about why this helps. What I've said is that it keeps the scope visible so people can rapidly review it. If you mark progress on it, they can rapidly review the process in the context of the whole project, and it allows rapid oversight of the project by people who might be occasionally reviewing it. This takes a little practice. What I've found though is that while many approaches are very complicated and have high learning curves, this is neutral or gains you time in the first project where you use it. So this is a good practice, highly recommended, give it a try.